Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is the only podcast that gives you a raw and unfiltered perspective of what it's really like to be a professional cheerleader. Whether you're currently on a pro team, an alumni, or really curious about what it takes to become a pro cheerleader, the Pro Cheerleading Podcast gives you all the inside scoop and hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry and in-depth interviews of current and former cheerleaders. I'm your host, Mhkeeba. Join me every Wednesday as I reveal the truth behind the Poms. Well, everybody, I'm excited to welcome to the podcast Erin and Jordan. They are the co-hosts and founders of Breaking Formation, a Pomcast. These ladies are former Gold Rush cheerleaders and just recently launched a podcast covering all sorts of topics, and I'm really excited to have you both here today. Welcome.
Yay! Excited to be on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us.
No, I love that we've been able to do like an episode swap. Like, I think it's the first official episode swap for the podcast. I really appreciated you guys asking me to be on your show. And so this is great to actually have you guys here and to get to know you and to tell everybody about your podcast. So you guys ready to get going?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let's distinguish voices. So Erin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself first, and then we'll go to Jordan.
All right. So, hello, everyone. My name is Erin. I was a 49ers Gold Rush cheerleader for 4 seasons. Closed it out in, we always get confused because it's 2019 football season, but we finished in 2020 because, that was the year we made it to the bowl. And so it kind of did like an overlap. And then, the whole world shut down and the 2020 season was a little sad. But yeah, so we both had our last season. Last game was at Super Bowl, and it's like I forget how to do a podcast right now. You guys. We take like 3 weeks off, and I don't know what to say.
Okay, real easy breezy here. We're just gonna let it flow. I know it's so awkward with us both being on the other end, so we'll just be over together.
So since retiring from Gold Rush, Jordan and I started the Breaking Formation podcast as kind of a quarantine project. And since then, I have recently moved back home to Redondo Beach and am expecting my first baby coming in about a month now. So we're at the 1 month countdown. So he's due on 4th of July. So that's a little bit about me.
That's super exciting. And what about you, Jordan?
Yeah, so I, like Erin said, cheered on the Gold Rush. So my first year was 2015 and then wrapped it up at the Super Bowl 2020. So I did 5 seasons. It was, just an awesome experience. And we both knew that, we had so many years that we put into this that we were like, what can we do and still stay a part of this industry? And so we were like, we love to talk and we love to have conversations with people. And so we were like, well, let's just start a podcast. It's the closest thing to a TV show. And so that's where Breaking Formation kind of happened. And yeah, it's been a really awesome ride. We just wrapped up our first season. And so yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah, well, no, I was really excited when I saw you. I don't know if it was the Instagram pop-up or what have you, but it's exciting to have more podcasts in this space and just listening. It's just nice to, I wasn't super into podcasts before we started the Pro Cheerleading podcast, but I would listen to other podcasts about this space. You know what I mean? So it's just like different perspectives and I just think we're all such unique and wonderful individuals, like on and off the court or the field or whatever. So it's just nice to hear all the different stories. I want to get into you guys' experience as part of Gold Rush and a little bit more. What made you audition for Gold Rush? Were you both in that area? And I just have Gold Rush questions in terms of like how you would describe the program. Right now, I feel like Gold Rush is a little mysterious, program at the moment. And so I want to know what kind of attracted you to the team, because I think of it as one of the iconic NFL cheerleading teams for sure. And so just want to hear about your journey in making that team.
Yeah, I mean, I actually grew up in Northern California in Petaluma, which is just north of San Francisco. I actually just moved to San Francisco last week. So now I'm actually living in the city. I've never lived here before, but I was from the Bay Area. Niners, my parents were season ticket holders. They've always been Warriors, and Giants, baseball, just, all the Bay Area sports teams. And so I grew up dancing, and I remember there was a point where I kind of thought about auditioning for Warriors, and then it was just kind of like, just a quick thought. And then a couple years later, I was just watching a football game, a Niners game, and my older sister, her best friend, had actually auditioned for Gold Rush quite a few years before that and made finals. And she was sitting there and she was like, Jordan, you should audition for Gold Rush. And I remember, because I think a cheerleader had came on the screen, and I was like, there's no way I could ever do that. You are crazy. I never, no. And I think that day I kind of started just thinking about it more and more. And for anyone that knows me, I'm just like one of those people, just all or nothing. Once I'm like have my mindset on something, I am researching the team. I am, just putting my all into it. And so from then on, I kind of just made it a goal. And I think that was like in September of 2014. And then I auditioned the following year in probably March, in the spring, and I made it. And that was kind of my path.
Okay. What about you, Erin?
My origin story is a little different just because I grew up in Los Angeles County, the South Bay. And once I danced my whole life. I started with ballet, and then I did the competitive team at my high school. I was a member of for 4 years, and going from high school to college, I knew I was going to go to Sonoma State, which was in Sonoma County, Northern California. And I had already locked in a spot on the Sonoma State Sapphires dance team, where I competed with them for 4 years. And I think the first kind of little inkling I had of wanting to do professional cheerleading / dancing definitely came around the time where I had committed to Sonoma State, because I just knew like I wanted to fulfill like a professional dance career in some capacity. And, once you're out of the ballet track, like there's only so many options you have. And, I really at that point wanted to get out of LA, which is kind of funny because, there's so much dance opportunity over here, but I was just so over it and just wanted to experience something different. And so I just kind of started looking into what sports teams were up there. And so Gold Rush was definitely in the back of my mind during college while I was competing with the Sapphires. And I auditioned just kind of like as a dip my toes in situation, my junior year of college. Yeah. And just to kind of get a feel for it. And I had no idea what to expect. And I look back at pictures of myself at that audition, and I'm like, how did that girl make finals? I don't know her. I was just so fresh. But I didn't end up making the team that year, which, I've talked on our podcast before about how it was a blessing in disguise. And I learned a lot through that experience. And also it allowed me to, finish out my college years with the Sapphires. And we ended up winning nationals my senior year. So that was a really cool way to close it out. Yeah. And, I like to say that, it was meant to happen that way. And I went back I guess I had auditioned right before graduating college, made the team that spring. It was like the craziest spring of my life because we had started Gold Rush rehearsals, and I was in the last dance show, close out end of the year show for my dance team, and I was graduating, so there was just so much happening at that point. But somehow we made
let
it
the crazy
through.
begin.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
it probably doesn't get much calmer than that after you make the team, for sure.
Exactly,
so then you guys you started at different times on the team. How did you gravitate towards each other? I've Insta stalked you, obviously, but all these amazing pictures of you guys together. So I want to hear the best friend story. How did you guys, come into this friendship that you have?
Well, I feel like there's so many, you asked that question, and there was so many memories that just popped up into my head at once. It's funny because, our first year together was 2016. You were living in San Francisco at the time, right? Or were you still in Roanoke Park?
Yeah, so I had just moved to the city. Like by the time like football season was going, I was in San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was still living back at home, and then we both moved to San Jose, which is Silicon Valley area, and so that's actually where the Niners Levi Stadium is. We both moved super close to each other, and we kind of just needed, some friends in the area. I mean, we obviously were on the team together. It wasn't until that 2017 where we just started hanging out a bunch, and I feel like from then on it was kind of just like, why weren't we friends? Or why weren't we this close before?
Yeah, it just worked. And I mean, the funny story that Jordan hates is we did meet at prelims like the first year we tried out, which was 2015, which was Jordan's first year making the team and my first year auditioning. And like just kind of like introduced ourselves like in line. And I just remember Jordan because I don't know, like she just is like a really bubbly, outgoing personality. And I also am like a really shy person, and so she was one of like 5 people I talked to at that audition, and I think I was one of like 50 she probably talked to. So it's like it's funny because on our show she's like, you make me sound like so mean because I don't remember you. I feel like your memory's been jogged since we've brought it up, right? Like
yeah, and
we also have
together.
I was gonna say we have that picture of us at finals where we're like sitting right next to each other, like, and it was like a good 3 years before we were actually like friends. So
friends, yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of funny how all of that plays out.
There is a moment that you don't remember, and so our first year mini camp, we have a mini camp every year. I'm sure every team is different, but it's like the football team. We get together for a whole weekend, and it's just filled with seminars and just getting to know everyone. And we actually sat next to each other her first year at the first dinner, the welcome dinner, and she didn't remember that, so I have that on her.
Yeah, that's true. And like, see, I wouldn't have thought of that because I still like it's not something that like I think of at first. But
do you find that like your memories of your time together cheering, it's just all turning into like one big blob versus like distinct memories? Like I don't know if I need to like go through my treasure chest or something and kind of like jog my memory of all the different things that we've done, but it's all just kind of blending together year to year. I don't know if it's the same for you guys.
Well, I feel like I recently heard someone explaining, I think it was an alumni explaining, like, you're going to forget what, the locker room looks like. You're going to forget, like just all the different memories. And I'm like, gosh, I hope that doesn't happen. But I feel like because it's so fresh for us, like, I mean, they didn't even have a team last year. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Erin?
I feel like it's definitely becoming a little more blurry. And like, I think, because we went out on such like a
super high note.
Yeah, well, like I mean, yeah, high note, then a little bit of sadness, but like those playoff games and like those moments in the locker room where we're just like we're winning and we're a good team, and like just like that whole like excitement. Like I guess that's easy to remember. I think the things that blur together a little bit are like my first 3 years where it was kind of a similar story and pattern and all of that. But I also think as much as I'm like, I wish I took more pictures, I wish I documented more, I think like Snapchat memories and all the photos we do have like definitely help like compartmentalize and like kind of make me remember like, oh yeah, like that was the game where this happened, or that was the crazy like weather moment. And yeah, so
I was just going to say Erin is the best at capturing memories. Like
memories.
She's just so on it all the time. And yeah, that's like one of her like specialties is just capturing memories. So
that's awesome.
Just random videos. Like she's just good at capturing like just little clips at the right moment.
Yeah. I was team historian, I think for like 3 years. Maybe it was 2. It was kind of a lot of years. So
oh my God, tell me about that. That's actually warms my heart because so many team stories are changing. To think of like capturing the history for each squad, it sounds really awesome.
Yeah, just like with the other positions on the team, like I mean captains and or assistant captains are a little bit different because they're obviously a bit higher responsibility titles. But I think we all vote for like team historian, and what were the other positions, Jordan? I'm like forgetting. Like it was like workout assistant. Yeah.
PR.
Also, you guys would do your social media too?
Yeah. So I think the PR and historian were kind of like intertwined. Yeah. And the majority of my job was, obviously capturing like moments of the whole team, but also being in charge of collecting photos and things like that for different like holidays and things to post on the social media, and as well as like gathering everything for the end of the year banquet, big
Montage of
slideshow.
pictures.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. Montage. Yeah.
Like I said, when I think of Gold Rush, I think of, like super iconic with the uniforms, a long history. Speaking of historians, like how would you guys describe, like, compared to the other NFL squads, like how would you describe like the vibe, the spirit, the style, if you will, of Gold Rush?
I mean, that's a good question, because I think even the years that we were on the team, I feel like it changed a lot in terms of like the dance style. We kind of were a little hip hoppy one year, and then we were kind of more jazz, and then I feel like it kind of started to get a little bit more hip hop in terms of the dance style.
I think because so many teams are changing, and I'm thinking of the ones that really stick out as iconic. Like I was trying to think of like how would I describe the vibe of Gold Rush, but I thought it would be better coming. Like I can describe the vibe of Seagulls back when,
Yeah.
like it was 50 million years ago, and of course it's changed now. But I was just curious what you guys would say is like the actual true style and spirit of Gold Rush.
I think that a big part of that too, probably just from an outsider's perspective looking into Gold Rush. So basically, a lot of people don't know, but we're not, when you are on Gold Rush, you're not hired directly through the 49ers. You're hired through E2K Events Times Entertainment. And that organization was founded by the Olmsteads, and it's stayed in the family since the beginning of time. So I think that a big reason as to why it's kind of remained so consistent, and just it's almost like Gold Rush is what it is because of the Olmsteads, and I think it stayed that way because of the Olmsteads, and it's
Deep
my
roots.
first couple years. Yeah, they know who they are, and they know how they want the team to be run, and so I think like a large part to do with it.
Well, and I think also what's really cool, and I don't know if it's unique, I feel like a lot of teams I've seen have like something similar, but we are very connected to alumni, and at any given game day there's alumni helping back, I want to say backstage or whatever the equivalent of backstage at a football game would be, but kind of like behind the scenes, and as well as like they call on the alumni to do separate appearances where like if the active Gold Rush members are at a game or doing something, they're able to help out. And we actually were lucky enough to have the 35th anniversary of Gold Rush happen while we were on the team, and so that was really awesome, seeing like all of the different decades come together, and it was just like one big reunion. And also, I mean, each of our coaches were alumni, so we saw them like doing their thing with their former teammates, and it's such like a strong sisterhood, and it does span across those generations. And the first director of Gold Rush was this woman named Lori, and she was the director of, I think, what was the inaugural team? It was 1982 of official Gold Rush, and her daughter Haley was our teammate for 3 years. So she so she cheered with us, and so that was another like little connection we had to like the history of this program, and just kind of like made us feel a little more connected to this big legacy that is Gold Rush.
E2K is kind of like a big giant family in a sense. And another thing about it too that's really cool, I think, is that we get to work all these different events outside of just Gold Rush. So when you're on the team, you're getting reached out to like you would for a normal appearance, like, hey, we need some extra support for this women's event, or like Pixar, or just really cool events that like in any other world you would have probably never really had the opportunity to participate in. And for me, I was going through college throughout my whole experience, so it was a really really good experience to put on my resume. You know, I've done
Yeah.
this, I've helped out as an event assistant, you know, just having all these professional experiences working in this event industry, entertainment.
Yeah. Because
Um,
they do so many different events. I mean, like to your point, like I didn't realize
yeah,
they open up those opportunities to the dancers. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
And
Really
it's
cool.
Get to
also,
meet other alumni too, and form these other relationships with people that were on Gold Rush, or you know, it's yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty cool.
and they also do Pro Bowl too. They produce Pro Bowl
Yeah,
every year
the
for
list
the
goes on.
Yeah, like I mean, and that's another way that like they kind of get there, because I feel like,
They are just
especially on our show too, on Breaking Formation, it's like we have discovered like weird little connections here and there, like from like our team to like teams across the country, and I think it's like that common thread of E2K and the people that are all involved in that.
yeah.
So
Because they do the international events too, right? The international NFL games, and
yeah,
yeah,
they
the list really
do.
goes on and on. So yeah, the circle's going to be pretty small in terms of people
Yeah.
coming into contact with the with E2K. Oh, that's cool because I don't know. I almost wish it wasn't just like those big milestones, like 35 years or whatever. I wish they almost had like an annual reunion.
A
Maybe some
small
teams
thing.
do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be a reminder that these teams that are changing, that they're part of something bigger and larger, and just, just a thought. But I'm feeling
Yeah.
nostalgic today. I don't know.
And
No, yeah, sure.
it's interesting too, because I do feel like overall Gold Rush has remained pretty consistent in regards to style and uniform and just overall air of the team. But
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it was just the fact that last year was such a unique year, in that,
Mhm.
they had a very limited space to work with. But we did see a few changes happen where they stopped wearing heels, like heeled boots, which was huge. Like
Yeah.
they switched to more of like a sporty, like sneaker shoe. And then
No,
we
not
didn't,
the sneaker shoes.
I
No.
know, because we have our dressy uniform and our sporty uniform for any given
Yeah.
game day, and we only saw them wear the sporty uniform. And so I don't know if that's like in something that's going to stick and stay.
Mm.
Um, for me, I've always been partial to the dressy uniform, even though a lot of people thought it was a little more uncomfortable. But I do feel like it's that more classic silhouette, and
Yeah.
they got the cute cowboy boots that I think they brought in with Levi's Stadium. But I don't know. It's kind of I mean, every
Changing
team evolves and kind of tries to get with the current trends
the
that are
40
going on.
times.
So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know if it's like I hope it's not like we're never going to have like a dressy something ever
Yeah, I think
again.
that
But
too. You know what it
yeah,
makes me think of? It's almost like when there's a Pro Bowl again, and when you think of seeing all of the different cheerleaders together, like on the photo card, and or at appearances, and I'm just imagining this sporty spice, like athletic gym. I don't know. We just went live the other day, and I know people were talking about uniforms, but
Mhm.
just how it's just kind of like this run-of-the-mill athletic wear where you almost look like you're kind of going to the gym. And so the one
mhm.
thing I would say, being in
Yeah.
person at Pro Bowl, it's it's the uniforms, seeing all the different uniforms, the
Together.
palms,
Right.
the colors, like all those things. And so if it ends
Yeah.
up being like everybody in a sports bra and leggings, it's going to look so weird.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I hope that's
I
not the
yeah.
case.
Yeah, I can understand that. Everyone's team has their own little flair, and yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's the
totally
fun part of
understand
it.
that. And I think the sneakers, I think from what I heard is that it was because they were dancing on concrete. But
Oh.
I will say I had back issues, and I would have loved those sneakers as much as I love the white boots. But my back would have loved those cute little red sneakers.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, no, I can relate to that because I mean, I'm acting like I just was all team go-go boots, but our boots were so freaking cheap. Like it was not a pleasure to wear them the whole entire game.
Yeah.
So when we changed into our sporty look second half, it was definitely welcome to be in the tennis shoes because,
Yeah.
if they were better boots, then maybe you can just rock them all day long from the minute you get to the stadium pretty much until the end. But
there's got to be like an orthopedic dancer boot option out there. Like, well, this is 2021. Like, maybe they can figure that out.
Maybe we need to invent our own.
Ooh, is this our business model? Okay, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Episode. Yeah, like just because, like, yeah, get a little support, get a little memory foam action. Like, it might be hard. Like,
yeah,
it could work. And where it works on turf and, you know, all of those great things, that would be nice too. Yeah. Well, it's funny. It makes me think of one episode. We're meeting with the Winterhawks in Portland, and their coach basically designed their dance shoes by putting spikes in them, like what you wear for track, so that they can just literally walk onto the ice and dance on the ice, like grinding them. Anyway, people, it might be one of us that creates the right kind of shoe, you know, that you want to be able to dance in.
Yeah, we're the people to do it, I think.
I think so. There's so much power in our sphere. But well, let's see. So you guys kind of touched on a little bit the inspiration behind Breaking Formation. You just wrapped your first season. What were some of the things that you really enjoyed the most about taking on the role of being a podcaster? Because I know I don't know if it was like that for you, but it was very new for me and Brittany when we started. And just tell me the journey from when you started and kind of like some of the things that you gained along the way.
I think, oh man, I mean, so like Jordan said a little bit earlier, we've always kind of joked around that, you know, we talk so much, like we think we're so funny, but we also have all this knowledge about like this whole like crazy experience and industry that's such a small little bubble. And like, how do we kind of stay connected to this world that, you know, we were both done kind of being like active members in, but like as far as like identity, which we do talk about on the show, it's such a hard thing to disconnect from. And I think another reason, like aside from both of us having extra time, being quarantined and just saying like, what do we do with all this time that we have, is that like in conversations with people that were outside of the industry, I would find myself kind of getting like a little revved up, a little frustrated. Like, let me actually expose like all of the positives of this thing that people I think have like associate so many negative stereotypes with, because it's like people have questions and then when I answer them with things that are surprising, they're like, what? No way. And like, what? That's so like, why don't they talk about this more? And what I'm really referring to is just like the fact that it's not necessarily someone's only career, right? It's like we're cheering with nurses, with teachers, with mothers, with doctors, like with all of these like multifaceted, well-rounded individuals, and most people have no idea that that's what's going on. And I think we said it a few different times, but it's like that was really the true inspiration behind Breaking Formation. It's not us like breaking out of this box that we were placed in. It's us kind of exposing that cheerleaders are already doing that. It's like, this is how any given individual cheerleader on a team is breaking formation already in their everyday life, and just kind of giving a platform and a public space for that to be discussed. And I think the best thing about it is us kind of connecting with other teams, because, you know, we had so much of that diversity on our team that, you know, we both only cheered for Gold Rush. And so we're like, oh my gosh, like how big is this platform, or like how many different stories can we tell, I guess was really the motivation for it.
Yeah. Well, that's like the exciting part, because I mean, you can kind of never get tired. I mean, there's interviews and of course of, you know, and the conversation that you can have just the two of you, but just the thought that like everybody has such a unique background that does this. And so, yeah, it's like an endless supply of topics, frankly, or at least subjects, for lack of a better word.
Something that I really enjoyed was kind of comparing the experiences too, and hearing everyone's stories and being like, I know that there was one episode that we interviewed Mhkeeba and Alicia, who are two former Patriots cheerleaders, and they are like, we titled the episode Two Poms in a Pod because they joke around that the people would say they're
two peas in a pod.
Yeah, two peas in a pod. Erin and I were like, you guys are us in Patriots form. Like it was just fun just to hear everyone's stories and how they like intertwine, and just how connected we all are. And another thing that I also really enjoyed was creating this platform for people who want to make a team so bad and kind of feel lost. Because I know when I thought about auditioning, of course, the first thing I did was Googled like how to become an NFL cheerleader. And we kind of
Yeah.
talked about it on one of our episodes. The answers and the things that come up are not the greatest, and they're the farthest from the truth. I remember I talk about it in one of the episodes. I read something about a jiggle test, and never once on the Gold Rush did I ever have to do a jiggle test. But it's like you just don't have that information out there. And for people that do want to make a team, something I really enjoyed was kind of almost being like a mentor for these people that
Mhm.
have been either, they're just now auditioning for the first time, or they've been auditioning for 5 years and they kind of are feeling defeated and they're like, I just want to make this team. Like, this is all I want. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I feel like we kind of there's a couple girls that would write to us, I'm auditioning for Gold Rush, or I'm auditioning for a team, and you guys have really inspired me. So that was really cool. I think Erin and
Yeah.
I both really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I do think that's a perspective that like it wasn't that we were not actively trying to like be a source of kind of guidance for people that
Mhm.
were wanting to audition, but I don't think we realized like the capacity of which like we were able to help, or having this platform has helped people going through that process. And I think we also talked about how when you're in that position, especially if you've auditioned a few different times and you see the women that are on the team for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they feel like unattainable, right? Like they feel like they're so
Mhm.
far ahead of where you are. And we kind of give a little bit of a personal connection to this process, and also just kind of like our personal experience in a way that you might not get unless you were on a team and befriended a veteran and were able to talk with them
Right.
through that process. And so I think that's also something that I think we're both really proud of, is just being able to be real and genuine and make people feel like they have some people
Somebody,
supporting them.
yeah, like in their corner with this process.
Yeah.
It's so intimidating. I know social media makes it a little bit easier for people to boldly like DM somebody out of nowhere and just say like, hey, I'm thinking of auditioning, but it is super intimidating to even do that. And so, having a platform like yours where you're welcoming and people are kind of getting to know you through your stories and stuff, I think it creates that relationship where people can reach out and just feel connected, because
Yeah.
you're right, this industry, like I always think of like, wow, if all of this had been going on when I was auditioning the 4 times before I made it, how I would have navigated it. Because
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot more audition prep companies. I get that social media is so different from what it used to be. But I think I would be overwhelmed. Like, frankly, I do not think I would have just been like, I'm going to Insta stalk all the people who are on the team and then just randomly reach out to one of them and ask them for tips on how to, like, I don't know that I probably would have shrank a little, or just felt, like you said, a little lost, and would have
Yeah,
definitely wished that I knew somebody on the team or something that would have given me a little bit more of a lighted path, so to speak.
definitely.
Well, no, this is really great. So you guys did how many episodes to wrap up your first full season?
25.
That is so
25
awesome.
episodes.
A strong number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. 25, all those numbers with a 10 or like a 0 or a 5. I just
5,
think it's
yeah.
like you're
Solid.
you're good to go.
Yeah.
Any standout moments that come to mind for you guys of like either favorite episodes? You don't have to say mine. I mean, but just any moments that really highlight the whole experience for you.
Oh, that's so tough. Honestly, every single episode, and I'm not just saying that, but I feel like there were just little things that like I either took away or we took away, or just moments that we enjoyed. I mean, that's
Mhm.
what
I
I
just
think,
feel like
but
at every episode it was like there was a moment where we just like got like so fired up. It's like because we have this shared experience, it made it so easy to initiate and have natural conversations, and then also feel like we were all friends by the end of each episode. So
Yeah.
they all definitely have their own, just
Special
every
place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like every individual brought something different. And I think, like we mentioned before, like Nicola and Alicia from the Patriots, it was like meeting ourselves in an alternate universe. And like, and then there was Marissa from the Pro Dance
The
League.
dance
And she,
league, yeah.
yeah, she had like such a different path, but we were still able to connect on so many, goals of ours with our separate projects and, how we all kind of come together on wanting to just have more representation in this space for the women on these teams. And I mean, and then there was, our earlier interviews with Natalie and Bria, our former teammates, which I feel like we got so real and we talked about so much that was just great content. And it's like I didn't
Yeah.
even it's like I love these people and I know I can talk to them, but then like it just turned into something like so much better than we even imagined. So it's been
It's
a really fun ride.
And also to our episode with Lindsay Rosenberg, who I'm sure a lot of your listeners know too, and I know you know
Love
Lindsay.
her.
I mean, obviously we've shot with her millions of times and worked different E2K events with her, but sitting down with her and interviewing her on our show was pretty cool. And she's just an awesome chick.
So magical. Like she's just so
Yeah.
freaking magical.
I'm with her, I'm like, I just want to hang out with you all day.
I know.
For a day in the life, right? Like when I did my shoot with her, I kind of was just like secretly hoping she wouldn't kick me out and leave, or or I'd have to leave. We hung out for a couple hours after, but I just felt so lucky. Like, just anyway, I can go on and on about Lindsay. Emily did this amazing article about Lindsay Rosenberg.
Lindsay,
Yes. And she captured it like spot on. I was just like,
so
you freaking nailed it. Like just capturing her magic and just how she makes you feel and how she.
Agreed.
Was that the Teen Vogue article? Because we did talk about that on one of our episodes. And fun fact, Jordan was the cover photo of that article. So
how did I not realize that?
Yeah. She's like the big banner photo. I
like that right now, probably.
It's a different, it was a different vibe. Just a little bit different.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm going to totally go back and look it up. But
I was just going to say, obviously I read the article and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I later found out that she was a Chargers cheerleader, right? Chargers? Was it Chargers or was it
the author of the article?
Rams.
Emily. Rams. Okay, yeah. And I was like, oh, that makes it even more cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of proves our point that we've talked about on our show, where it's kind of like we have to be the people that are vouching for ourselves, right? Like that's one thing we've learned is like you have to be your own advocate, or like, it takes someone who knows what's really going on to advocate for this particular space. And so that's a perfect example.
I think we talked about that actually on Mhkeeba's episode.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
And that's why I love our platforms, because we're just saying it in our own voices and our own way. We're producers of it. We're, we're the hosts. So we get to kind of, and it's not even like we're trying to paint us in the only one light. It's just we are actually really dope behind people and have such amazing backgrounds. So it's really not like trying to put a spin on anything. And I think as long as, like you guys have said, just being raw and real about it. I mean, there are some unsavory type of things that you might experience, but I think we can all say it's made us stronger in a lot of ways. And again, just advocating for the changes that you want to see to make it even better. I mean, I think who better than to make those changes than people who know what they're talking about, who've lived it, walked it. I wish we can just get our butts at the table to kind of give some proper insight. I think it would make things a lot smoother. Another question I had for you guys is just, did you learn anything about the pro cheerleading industry or community that you maybe didn't know before starting the podcast?
I guess like one point of, realization for me was that unfortunately some of the things that are more prevalent in media and just kind of like news coverage of pro cheer teams are realities for certain teams. And it was in our episode with Sarah, who cheered for the Cardinals and the Dolphins, and the Mavericks. She was all over and had a lot of really good experience to share. And she did have some, more unfortunate circumstances that she came across like while cheering. And so it did kind of just open my eyes and our eyes to, certain realities that, we were fortunate enough to not have to experience firsthand. But, it was good that we were able to provide that space to open the conversation. And I think that's the only way that we implement change is, talking about it and calling it out and making sure that we're all on the common ground of saying that it's not okay and, we deserve better. So
That's a good point. Yeah, because I think maybe just all these years of, I'm acting like I've been around for 10 years or something, but just over the past couple years of researching and like you said, reading those articles and whatnot, I won't even say it's like the point of being desensitized, but to your point, it's like realizing that that's the reality for some people on certain teams. And, even if you didn't quite experience that, it's just like to highlight that it would help if we had some common ground of like what's acceptable and what's not. And I know probably overall the whole industry has probably gotten better than where it used to be, but it's sad when I think about that. And sometimes you just forget that people, and I would say they're probably to some extent still scarred from what they experienced, like for things that were maybe emotionally, maybe abusive is a strong word, but definitely not healthy, or just different things they had to experience that I know sticks with you. Like I definitely can relate to realizing that in some of these conversations, like, dang, these people are still dealing with after effects from all of this. What about you, Jordan? Anything that you
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Erin started talking about that, I was like, yeah, that's exactly, kind of took the words right out of my mouth.
Mhm.
I mean, learning about the different teams is really probably something that stuck out. Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, because each team is definitely different, right?
So
And
different. Yeah.
hearing about the different ways that they're managed is always, I mean, that's why I love talking to the directors, because I'm just like, I mean, of course, it's their take, right? Not one of the dancers, but just hearing their different approaches is like fascinating because you see that there's a lot of room, for things to be done differently, frankly. It is eye-opening each and every time.
Well, we came into it too, I will say. We came into it knowing like this is going to be really cool to learn about like how the teams are different, but something I didn't realize was that they are actually very similar too in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And I know that the directors all get together every year. I'm sure they weren't able to do that last year, but I'm just wondering like what kind of things they talk about at the directors conference. I would love to just be a fly on the wall.
Oh,
Yeah,
same,
seriously.
same. Well, I know I've heard rumors that they don't talk as much as we would think that they do. They're very, I don't want to say like close to the chest, but I just think they share certain things, but it's almost like a little competition, a little bit. Like, I don't know. That's what I heard. It's a
Yeah,
rumor.
Yeah.
I can see that. Like they don't want to
I
give
would
away
imagine
too many trade secrets.
Yeah.
I
You would
think
think
there's a
it'd be
little
like
bit of that.
Pro Bowl, but I think, yeah, I guess it can't be because then.
We'll see. And then I think that's a little bit of a different situation because
Oh, yeah.
generally that is those women's careers, right? Like that is like literally their livelihood and
Mhm.
like their lives. So it's like a slightly different dynamic. It's got to be.
Good
Yeah, that's true. And they all want to have their own program that probably stands out in certain
Yes,
ways. So
exactly.
you
Yeah.
might not want to tell all your
Yeah.
secrets of what makes your program
Yeah.
amazing. Well, I know you guys just wrapped, and I don't want to keep you too long, but what is next for the podcast? A break is good. So, I mean, you've been going strong, but there sounds like there are I did peek to listen to the last episode that you guys did, and I know there's some changes on the horizon coming, but what are your kind of next plans for the podcast?
Well, I mean, like I said, I just moved to San Francisco. I just graduated. And so
Oh, congrats.
thank you. I'm hoping to have a big girl job here shortly. And like Erin said, she is expecting her baby soon. So we're kind of just playing it by ear and just kind of I mean, we both enjoyed it so much. So we told our listeners it's not a goodbye, just a see you later.
Yeah,
And so we're just going to kind of see what happens.
get settled and,
Yeah.
well, I mean, people have 25 episodes to listen to. If they're new to the
Exactly. Yeah.
podcast, there's plenty of time to catch up and be ready for when you guys launch again. being patient, because I remember I used to be so not paranoid, but kind of like, oh my gosh, we haven't put something out and it's been like 4 weeks, like people are going to stop listening and not, just all this panic around like taking a break. And I don't know where the hell I got that from. I mean, everybody will be here, so take whatever time that you need. They'll be super excited when you come back, and don't be paranoid for no reason like I was. I definitely don't know where that came from. But,
yeah, we kind of had the same thing happen when we had a lot going on, like around the holidays, where we took a little break and, and
we're like,
eventually
will
jumped
people
back
come
into
back?
it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I have to say, Mhkeeba, that when you guys first launched Pro Cheer Podcast, I honestly I didn't listen to podcasts. And I want to say your podcast was probably the first podcast I ever listened to. And so you brought that up earlier about podcasting. And I was like, wait, I think, because I remember hearing about either some of the girls on the team listening to it. I can't remember which was the first episode I listened to, but I had to throw that out there. That
oh my gosh, that's
looked
awesome.
up to you.
Oh, thank you, because we didn't know what the heck we were doing. No, that's really fun. Especially the early seasons, I swear. I mean, we would look at downloads, like we obviously don't know who's doing it or who's listening.
Yeah.
And no matter what those numbers said, we'd feel like nobody's listening and nobody's, you know what I mean? You just kind of are in your own head about it. But that's really touching. I'm not a podcast person either. And again, like I said, I will listen to other cheerleaders in this space who have a podcast, because it's the content that I would find interesting, can relate to. And I just applaud you guys for getting through, like, it's a lot. Like, I hope people appreciate and recognize the work that goes into it and the coordination, and it takes over your life a little bit, right?
Yes, I have to hand it to our interns. We actually hired 2 interns throughout the middle of the season, and they helped us out so much with editing and our social media. So they were a huge help.
Yeah, they were definitely really great little blessings in our journey. So
I heard that. Well, you guys have inspired me, because it's something that I definitely, even from our last episode we did together, I was just like, I need to get on that. Like, I mean, just help in general. Like, I love that you guys have 2 great, I forget their names. Tell me their names.
Sophia and Madison.
There we go.
Our rookie season interns.
Well, shout out to them, because it is a valuable contribution. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with me with this one woman show concept, but you guys have you guys have inspired me to reach out and touch somebody and find some help. But before I let you go, I thought, instead of drop it like it's hot, I could pull something that Brittany and I did for we called it our cheerversary, 1 year out of doing the podcast. How well do you know your co-host? So I'm gonna. We had little like dry erase boards, but nobody has like time for that. So you'll each get a chance to answer, and you can verify whether your co-host really knows you or not. So we're testing your friendship.
Apologize if I get anything wrong. In advance.
Friendship over.
You guys have to stay friends after, but
that's
it was really enlightening when Brittany and I did it, and it was like live on camera. So I'm like, what did you just say? Anyway, but you guys ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We'll start off slow. What is the other's full name? So that's middle name included.
It's so funny because I know, and I was like, for a moment, I was like, panicking. What's her name?
No. Okay, Jordan Eileen Thomas.
Yes, that's easy because I have my whole middle
name on Zoom.
As my Instagram. Okay, but here's the hard part, because you abbreviate yours, and so I'm scared that I'm gonna get it wrong. But Erin Margaret. Yes. Hardy.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Margs, but I'm like, I know it's Margaret, but I don't know why I'm second guessing it. Erin Margaret Hardy.
Yes.
Awesome. I love the way you sang that out. I'm gonna keep that in there.
Oh my gosh.
Face like am I getting this right?
Well, I mean, you've heard me complain about how I have the whitest name on the planet, right? It's like, it's not gonna be Erin Margarita, because that would give me a little spice.
I don't know what I was thinking, but
yeah.
All right, check.
All right, we're doing good. I should keep score, but Well, everybody gets a point. Oh, I literally am going to keep score now. Okay, hold on, just in case.
Yes.
All right, another little easy one. Favorite color?
Ooh, that's kind of a hard one for you.
I feel like it's a hard one for you. Oh no.
Maybe like top two.
If you get one of them right, then we'll count that. I don't know why I became a game
Okay.
show host all of a sudden. We'll keep the rules.
This is so fun. I love this.
Yeah.
You can go first.
I mean, like what comes to mind is like, like millennial pink, like a pink situation, because I know we were just talking about that, and it's been like in your room color scheme for a long time.
Yeah. It kind of changes. Like honestly,
Right.
That's why I was like, yeah, it might be a hard one for you because I feel like, sure, we'll take that.
We'll take that down. Okay.
Well, what are you thinking?
I don't know. Some days it's yellow, some days it's purple, but pink has always been, it's been a favorite. So
okay, good.
Okay. I want to say blue, but I feel like I'm wrong.
Well, it's kind of hard because like my favorite color I never wear, and I don't design anything around it. So, and like,
okay, wait. Okay. Is it?
These are hints. Because like unless you've like explicitly asked me, I don't know if you would even know. So this, I'm not going to take it personally if you don't get it.
Okay. Is it purple?
It's close. Burgundy, like a dark red. It's like my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never knew that. Okay. Learn something new every day.
We're giving her a point.
Yeah. Why not?
You were so sweet. Burgundy, purple, same.
Same thing. I'm like, not exactly, but okay.
I don't have a prize for whoever wins, so we're just having fun. Okay. Favorite season of the year?
Ooh, I know yours.
Yours is summer.
Yeah. Yours is fall.
Yeah.
See, there we go.
That was quick.
Right.
That was good.
We're getting warmed up.
Yeah.
These were just the first couple questions. Okay.
I don't know why I'm like sweating. I'm nervous.
I know the color one was tough.
Really got you.
All right, let's see. If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Do you know that answer for either one? I mean, I guess it's like favorite food, but
Yeah.
Your go-to gotta have it food.
Honestly, I mean, we're just talking today about tacos.
I was gonna say we were literally just talking about this.
So I would say tacos or like Taco Bell, because I feel like that's like what you like, just like you get mad at like because you want it like out of nowhere. I feel like you're like, I need to just go get Taco Bell. Bye. So I would say tacos.
Yeah, it's definitely tacos. Okay, can I pick a condiment, because I feel like you love everything, but ranch.
Right.
But ranch, you like ranch. Okay.
Anything.
Was that in your bio on Instagram? Where's past the ranch? Where's the ranch?
Yes, she loves ranch. She literally will eat it with everything. So I feel like that.
Yeah.
Like if Erin had to pick something to eat for the rest of her life, it would be ranch.
Anything that's like a vessel. Yeah, anything that's a vessel for ranch and salt. Like so, like a safe answer would be like French fries or like chicken fingers.
I was gonna say
nuggets.
like or pizza. Like I feel like we've had a lot of pizza together.
For sure.
I love it. You guys are doing really good. You're doing better than I think Brittany and I were doing. Okay, favorite musical artist?
I feel like this is one that changes a lot for Jordan.
Yeah, I know. I'm like thinking of my answer and your answer at the same time, and I'm thinking they're both going to be hard.
As of late, it could be like who you're really into now. We need to narrow it probably a little bit.
Yeah. Erin and I have a very different. I feel like we like similar songs, but I feel like our everyday like playlists are very different. Very different. What did you say?
Yeah, I would say we bring different things to each other's playlists.
Right.
Typically, like we like, oh, that's nice, and then like we'll do a switch of songs.
This is a hard one.
I know. I don't even know. Why do I want to say J. Cole? I feel like that's wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the J. No, it's just I think it's just the J for the Jordan.
Like I don't know. I think Yeah, I don't know about J. Cole.
Well, we can skip that one, or you guys can
Okay.
both just say who your favorite is.
Yeah, maybe you go. Maybe you say.
I guess like consistently, like currently, right now, probably like Billie Eilish. Like I know it's basic,
I was gonna
but
guess that.
I
Or,
love
like,
her.
I don't even know if you listen to her, but like I was gonna guess like Lana Del Rey.
Um, I had a
No?
moment, but like I just
Okay.
yeah, she's kind of I feel like she kind of like pushes a little too hard, like her one
Okay.
thing.
I
Like
think we talked about this before.
yeah. Well, what would you say for you?
Like you said, it's constantly changing, but I feel like a good solid answer would have been Drake.
Oh, I was gonna say Drake. I really was gonna say Drake.
The
But then I'm like, why do
Weeknd.
I feel like it's not Drake and it's J. Cole?
Yeah, I don't know. The Weeknd or Post
Ooh.
Malone would have been like three solid answers.
Okay.
You guys need to trust yourselves. You probably
Yeah.
almost guessed. Hopefully this will be a little easier. What's biggest fear?
Ooh, I kind of have one.
Ooh, what is it?
I know that when you found out you were having a boy, you were
Just nervous
You
about
just
having a
talked
boy.
nervous about having a boy. But yeah, so I was like, is this the biggest fear? Probably not. But you just talked about how, raising boys in our society is,
It's daunting.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like as time has passed, I mean, you've always been ready, but I don't know what your biggest fear would be. This is tough.
I know this one's hard too.
I forget where we were on. I think it was literally like a matter of like spiders, lizards, like, just kind of.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I'm getting too like
Too deep. Yeah. No, I was going deep too. I was like going
What's your
into
biggest
like
fear in life? You guys don't have to have phobias though.
yeah. I have like irrational fears that I feel like I've talked to you about. Oh, you know what? I do have just for the record, my biggest fear I think is like becoming like paralyzed.
Oh.
Like because I've been so active and like independent and you just lose so much of that like when that happens. So I think that would be my biggest fear.
Yeah, I
Gosh, even the thought of it definitely like made my face pale. Like, dang, you don't think about it often, but yeah, geez.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, to just give you an easy answer, I really don't like snakes. I just can't. Like, I will hold a tarantula in my hand, and
Really?
Snakes, nope. Mm-mm.
So no.
Just a no.
Noted.
See, you guys will come out of this even closer.
Yes,
Okay, let me see. One more. I'm gonna see. Well, I had a bunch of easy ones at the bottom. I don't know how that happened. Okay, biggest pet peeve.
Jordan has a lot.
What? Wait, what?
I don't know. Like now I'm like, what do I even pick? Because I'm like,
this is tough.
I'm trying to remember how Brittany and I survived these questions then.
These are good questions.
Maybe this is exactly why we did so poorly. I think she got mine though. But anyway, go ahead. I mean, if you can think of anything.
Don't hate me, Jordan, but I
know
just
exactly
feel like,
what you're going to say.
I don't know if you, well, maybe, but like, I just think like Jordan, if we're in a car, like Jordan just needs to be the one driving because she doesn't do well with
As a
other
passenger?
people driving. Yeah. Like it's like almost like I don't know if it's like a control thing, but like especially on the freeway. Maybe that's just another place where we have different styles. So
okay. Yeah, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put it I feel like I just drive like a grandma and
okay. Yeah,
Everybody else
confident.
And Erin's very confident in her driving. That's a good one. I thought you were gonna say the nails, but
I should have. Yeah, well,
I'm
that's more of like you're very particular about
my nails, and I wish I wasn't, but I'm the one when they're like, "Can you just file them a little bit more?" Like, but you're the one staring at them all the time,
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Biggest pet peeve. Oh, I know. When people ask you like a question over and over again. Maybe I'm phrasing that wrong, right? Wouldn't that like
they're not listening or like they didn't hear me?
I'm trying to think. That was a bad one. Hold on. Let me cut that out.
Honestly, I can only like think of one for myself,
Mhm.
really. That's like a true pet peeve because you don't have this issue, so I don't even know if I would have ever called you out on it because
Mm.
like
Eating with your mouth open. I don't know if that's
I mean,
no,
I feel like that's
that's the
universal,
common,
like pet,
yeah. But there's
pet peeve.
one of our
But
teammates, Kirsten, like just it
oh yeah.
drove her crazy.
Well,
when
that
Well,
and then Kirsten would get on me because I always had a metal water bottle with ice in it, and she hated the clanking.
she
And I'm
wasn't
like,
a
you know
Sabbath
what?
person.
I like cold water. But
What's your one thing
my one
that
thing
Mhkeeba
is
doesn't have to
when
listen to us?
people like, yeah, I know, when people just like mindlessly hum around me, like,
Oh.
and you know, my sister, who I live with now, and Simone, who was my roommate for a million years, are both really horrible culprits of it. And I just have to like, it's like I'm not a mean or snappy person typically, but I just can't take it. I'm just like, stop, because it won't even be like a real song. Like it's just like, and it just drives
oh
me
no.
nuts. Yeah, like, and like, it drives me nuts. So
I'm so-
Man, that was honestly, I don't think I ever would have
no,
gotten that one. I'm not a
yeah.
hummer.
That's a hard one. Like you said, unless they're the person annoying you,
Right, you wouldn't
they
really
they
know
wouldn't
that.
necessarily know. Okay, I had really crappy questions then.
No.
Let's see. These were the ones that we picked in our thing, but I probably should have picked the easier ones that were at the
No,
bottom.
you're
But
good.
no, I do I do appreciate you guys doing this. It was something that like
Yeah.
it kind of commemorated like you spend so much time together doing a podcast, whether you're like recording, editing, all of the things. So I felt like Brittany and I probably got to know each other like on a whole different level just from doing it together. So
Yeah.
um,
Totally.
you guys definitely still know each other pretty well. I stopped keeping score, but I think it's safe to say that you guys
Yeah. It was kind of iffy there for a little bit.
Yeah.
you guys learned something new about each other. But thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on to this show and sharing the podcast with everybody and just your stories. Wherever you guys listen to your podcast, you can check out Breaking Formation. I seem to recall there's a website coming up pretty soon for you guys. I will link it in the show notes for people too to check
Yes,
out.
we just launched it thanks
Yes.
to our interns and their
Congrats.
help. Yes, we're so excited. Yeah, breakingformation.com.
And you can actually listen to all of the episodes there for a one-stop
Mhm.
shop. And then it gives us, yeah, we have little bios of all of our guests and ourselves, and it's kind of a nice little way to wrap up our season was launching that
That's
website.
awesome.
Something
That's awesome.
we didn't actually mention that I want to mention is that we actually had our friend Caitlin. We were all three really good friends while on the Gold Rush together.
Mhm.
And she kind of helped us co-host. We called it the Positivity Corner. And so that was like our little sessions that we did with Caitlin. And so whenever you see Positivity Corner in the title, that's when you know it's with Caitlin.
I actually was going to bring that up as one of like my favorite things about the podcast too, is just like that dynamic, because she just like added so much to our conversations. And you know, we would get listeners messaging us saying like, you can tell how close you guys are, and it's just like it was like a good balance with all three of us when we would do episodes
Mhm.
together. So that was definitely a really fun part of our
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice. Well, you guys definitely go check out the podcast and support each other. I just love that you guys were willing to come on and that you had me on. And I just think it's just great that we can connect in this way. It does feel like from listening that you know people. So I don't know. I feel like I know you both and even better after today. So I thank you guys for joining. I kept you a little longer, but
No, that's
I
totally
enjoyed every
fine.
minute.
Hopefully we can
Yes,
have our
us
Breaking
too.
Formation meetup with all of the season 1 guests that hopefully one day when it's all
Yes.
Oh, no. That would be nice. Well, you interview people from all over a little bit too.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've like honestly mentioned it on every episode, so they're well aware. Like it's like in the works, you know,
Yeah,
and
it's
like we
coming.
want to make it happen. So we
Yes.
hope like we could get at least like a good amount of people coming
That would,
through. So
that would be awesome. And I get to
Yeah.
come actually. I was just like, I want to go, but it's like, duh.
Of
Duh.
course. Yes, of course. You have to come.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thanks for having us. Thank you. This was so much fun. I love the little game at the end.
Oh my gosh, sorry if the questions were too hard, but no, I
No, it was
enjoyed it.
awesome.
Fun. No, it was fun. I felt like we were
Yeah.
all just hanging out.
Exactly. Thanks so much for listening to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. You can follow your favorite podcast on social media at Pro Cheerleading Podcast on Instagram, at Pro Cheer Podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can support your favorite podcast on Patreon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines.